It's Dino from Fear Factory. How are you today?
Good. How you doing, man?
Man, we're doing so good. Talking about all this craziness going on. I know you got the big tour about to start, and
Yep.
man, to reminisce, man, to go back. Is it 30 years? 20 years?
20 years.
20 years for this album.
Of demanufactured.
Okay. 20-year anniversary.
The band's been around 25 years.
Okay.
So.
Started about 90. Now when did
1990,
when did you start playing music?
I started playing music. Well, I really started playing music and focusing when I was about 14. But there was a guitar laying around, when I was a kid, around the house, and I always picked it up, fiddled with it, but never really got serious until I heard AC/DC, Black Sabbath, all that early stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Ted Nugent. And I started seeing all that stuff when I was a kid on TV.
This is growing up in San Diego?
A place called El Centro, California.
Okay.
Which is about an hour and a half east of San Diego.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's next to the Mexicali border.
Okay.
So I grew up there, watching all this stuff on TV, picked up the guitar, and by the time I was 14, I already knew what I wanted to become, what I wanted to do. What
was the first big arena show you saw that just blew your mind?
The first big arena show, it's the US Festival in 1983.
I was there, man.
1983.
Oh, everybody was there.
Yeah, that was the first arena show that I went to.
Is that right?
The minute I was there, I was like,
300,000 people.
Yeah, it was insane. It's like somebody hit my stomach and I just lost all my breath. I was so excited, I thought I was going to explode.
Can you imagine being on stage? It was like Motley Crue's first gig in front of that audience. Quiet Riot,
Scorpions,
Judas Priest,
Triumph.
And Van Halen, David Lee Roth, drunk.
Yeah, Triumph was the only band that I didn't really get into.
Yeah, they were kind of out of place.
Yeah, Judas Priest, Scorpions. I was all about Ozzy, of course.
Yeah.
Brad Gillis was on guitar.
Okay.
That was my first concert, and from there I was hooked. I was more hooked. I was
you got a little spoiled, man. There's nothing bigger than that.
Yeah, that was my first big real show, and then the second show was 84, was Venom, Slayer, Exodus.
Wow.
Yeah, it went from metal rock, I guess you call it.
Yeah,
because Van Halen's more rock than
right.
Metal rock to extreme within a year.
And what was that in a club or a theater?
Palladium, Hollywood Palladium.
Palladium. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The biggest pit out there.
Massive pit.
It's
it was just going to those two concerts was life-changing for me.
So were you there for the Jeff Hanneman Memorial?
No,
we were out of town.
We were on tour.
I was there, man. It was a fitting in for Jeff going back to the Palladium there.
I had a friend who was there, and he was texting me everything everybody was saying and just filling me in. He got me one of the laminates.
Oh yeah, I got it right hanging
Jeff
right there.
Laminates. Yep. He got me a shirt. He got me a lot of stuff. I told him, please get it for me because I'm gone. We were in Europe, and I was like, so when I got home, he's like, here you go. So,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Trujillo spoke. Of course, Kerry King, Brian Slagle from Metal Blade. It was great.
Yeah, Jeff Hanneman was a really Slayer was a big influence on my life.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, those two guitar players, Jeff Hanneman and Kerry King.
Mm-hmm.
Just listening to those two guys and just their evil notes that I never knew that you could go on the guitar.
Right.
When I heard that stuff, in '84, I was just hooked. I was
it's one thing to be hearing Sabbath and Iommi riffs, but then Motorhead and Slayer, these guys are taking that punk energy and even making it harder.
Yeah, well, exactly, and just the way they wrote the songs and the way they phrased their chords and the notes that they were throwing in there, they weren't right, they were wrong, but wrong, right in a way. They made sense, and if you like that evil shit, that was it. I mean, Sabbath was evil, but they also had some blues in there.
Yeah,
they had some different, but Slayer was just all evil, and I was hooked on it.
Man.
But I was also loved Exodus, a lot of the thrash scene.
Yeah,
got into that when I was a kid. Really helped shape me as a guitar player, listening to all that stuff.
Yeah.
Starting out with the early stuff, of course, Def Leppard, Priest, Maiden,
mm-hmm.
Van Halen,
mm-hmm.
Motley Crue, Quiet Riot. Starting off with that stuff, then going to the extreme stuff.
Yeah.
And then just landing somewhere in between there. I loved it all. Well, anything that was heavy metal I was into.
Yeah, it was an exciting time. This is Cali. This was the hotbed of it between North and South. I remember when, Metallica came up, I was helping promote some of the early shows, and I was at the show where, the bass player came down from Northern California and Trauma and joined the band and moved the band up there. Interesting side note, I was talking to David Ellefson about when he formed Megadeth, and he said Dino was our buddy that worked at Togo's.
He actually mentioned
He
that?
actually mentioned that in the interview.
Because I know
Because he saw Fear Factory come up, and he said that's Dino from Togo's.
Yes. It's funny. Okay.
That's the Gower Gulch, for those that don't know.
Yeah.
Sunset and Gower.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell a little story. So, when I was going to those concerts, like in '84,
Yeah.
I was working at a sandwich shop right across from the Hollywood Palladium.
That's it, the Palladium.
Yeah, and so I was trading sandwiches for tickets. People work there, so I got to see everybody: George Thorogood, Ramones,
Yeah.
Echo and the Bunnymen, Venom, Slayer, Exodus. We went to all the concerts, whether we liked the music or not.
Wow.
We went there just
Can never have a bad night at the Palladium.
exactly just for music, drinking beer, hanging out, and just
walking across the street.
seeing different crowds. Now going to Venom, Exodus, Slayer concert, you thought that was a rough concert, right? You thought slam pits, it's crazy, people fighting. No, I went to George Thorogood. That was the most
Really?
crazy. I've just seen biker fights everywhere, just
Wow.
just people just throwing blows. It was no slam pit. The slam pit was they
Right.
were killing each other, literally beating each other up.
That's crazy.
Just biker after biker.
It's probably before they were patting people down at the door, too.
Yeah.
So people coming in with a chain or a...
Yeah, I don't think they were that, not like it is now. You got to go through
Right.
metal detectors to get
Yeah,
to
it's like
some
going to the
concerts.
airport.
Yeah, where back then I think you were able to maybe wear a bullet belt or
Right.
some stuff like that, and I think you were able to get away with more stuff. Able to hide things and get in with it, but.
Yeah,
people were there. It
but
was crazy.
Elfson mentioned that. He said, man, it
So-
blew him away that everybody was
So I
right
worked
there.
at the Gower Gulch, and that was across the street from the Hollywood Palladium. But then down the street was a studio. There was SIR Studios.
Yeah,
There was also a television network.
yeah.
This filmed all the daytime soap
Right,
operas.
yeah. Sunset Gower Studios.
All what do they call Days of Our Lives. And
Yeah,
whatever.
All My Children.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. So they were filming all that stuff there, and so whoever was recording or rehearsing or doing pre-production, whatever bands was there, guys from Quiet Riot would walk in, and here I was, 17-year-old kid. I'm like, meeting every one of these guys, getting autographs,
Right.
giving them free sandwiches, free
Yeah.
beer because we had beer, free drinks. Guys in Motley Crue walked in. I'm like, giving them free
Yeah.
stuff, all the stuff,
Yeah, SIR would be the next sandwich shop down.
Exactly. So then, people from all those soap operas and actors were walking
Mm-hmm.
in, and I was like, "Well, this is a cool spot to work at." I mean, I'm not getting
Hollywood
paid
Central.
I'm not getting paid shit, but
Right.
it's a cool place to work
Getting
at.
concert tickets
Then
and
walks in Dave Mustaine and Dave Alfson, and they walked in, and I was like, for me, it was like because I didn't really know too much about Megadeth.
yeah,
I don't even think they had a record out at that point.
yeah, just formed.
Yeah, and he had what's his name just left Metallica. Dave Mustaine
Right.
just left Metallica. I knew him from that,
Yeah,
and they come walking in. I'm like, oh my god. And so I felt, they didn't really have a lot of money. They were still coming up.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I was just giving them free sandwiches and free beer. And I said, hey man, I just started talking to them, became friends with them, and then I was saying, come in. These are the nights I'm working. Just come in. And so every time they would come in, they'd pull up their white van. I'd be like, yeah, they're here. And we're just, just giving them free food and stuff like that.
Wow,
it,
man.
It was fun. It was
Yeah.
cool. And then years later, I come out with Fear Factory. Do a record, second record, demanufacture.
Yeah,
Megadeth says, yeah, we'll take Fear Factory on tour with us. So I'm thinking, yeah, Megadeth's returning the favor for me giving them free sandwiches and alcohol and all that stuff. And I remember when I walked up to Dave Mustaine, I said, hey, Dave, how you doing? Thanks for bringing us on tour. And you might remember me. And he's like, Togo's, yeah. So it was cool.
that is amazing. But no, Hollywood was full of bands, and SIR was where the big bands rehearsed. I mean, Kiss,
Yeah.
everybody was over there,
Yeah.
and the Palladium right across the street. I mean, that's It's a big hall. I mean, that's big shows.
That little area, just the Gower Gulch, meeting those people,
Yeah.
going to those
Roscoe's
concerts.
Chicken.
Really, yeah, love Roscoe's Chicken.
Yeah.
I had a buddy who worked there, and he would give me, like, late at night, I'd go over there in the back, and he'd give me, like, a whole thing of chicken. Like, here you go. Just leftover stuff, here you go. So, and I'd feed all my buddies, and, but, just being there in that little area and just growing up right there and going to all those concerts, meeting all those people, kind of shaped me to who I am as a player,
Yeah.
Starting a band and so on and so on.
You got a lot of hungry musicians, man. That's the barter system right there.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, today everything would be barcoded, and the boss would know if you gave a damn toothpick away.
Yeah, you know, back then they didn't. If you messed up on the bread, they just threw it away. They didn't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
That's great.
Now,
great stuff.
Everywhere, even like Subway, the bread has a barcode on it.
Insane. So now I know
joking.
You had played in bands before. Tell us about Meetin' Burton and the whole evolution of Fear Factory.
Well, the evolution of Fear Factory was I was in a band called Excruciating Terror. Okay. It was like a grindcore band. I was in a band for about a month, but I moved into this one house. It was a 7-bedroom house, and each room was rented out to somebody different.
Okay.
Right. It was up and coming artists, musicians. And so I was one of the guys who rented a room. It was like $200 a month. It was cheap. It was perfect. I was working on Hollywood Boulevard at the Rock Shop. It was a record store, the Rock Shop. So I didn't make that much money. So it was perfect for me. And I met Burton there.
Okay.
He was one of the guys living in the house, and he had another band. And I was like, wow, this band's cool. It was kind of more Killing Joke-ish, more on the industrial side and stuff like that. And I was like more into Godflesh and stuff like that, and so was he. But when I heard him singing, I was like, wow, this guy can really sing. So we kind of started a band together. It was called Ulceration.
Okay.
So we had this band going on, but then I was also playing another band called Excruciating Terror, grindcore, and that's where I met Raymond, the drummer. So I was jamming with Bert, and I said, you know what, this drummer is really great. We need to I need to merge everybody together and start this band. And so when I met Raymond, Raymond's like, hey man, you need to join my band. You're a guitar player, good guitar player. You need to join my band. Our guitar player is leaving. I'm like, wasn't really into his band or nothing like that. So when his band started to fizzle up, I'm like, I was already jamming with Bert. Me and Bert already had something going. Hey, I got to bring this guy in. So I brought Raymond in, and that was pretty much how it all started.
That was the unit, man.
Yeah.
So it was a kind of a combination of like-minded influences and just attitude. You wanted to do something new.
Yeah. Somewhere where we kind of all met together was bands like Ministry and Godflesh.
Okay.
I was really more into the metal side.
Yeah.
I liked some industrial music, but I was more into the metal side. Bert was more into the industrial side, but he liked some metal music. And, some of the other members of Raymond and was more into the metal side and some industrial. So we all kind of met in the middle, and we basically just combined the two.
Wow.
But we also had other stuff that we liked, we liked some alternative music, like early Nirvana, early Sub Pop stuff.
Yeah.
Early Nirvana, Helmet, all that stuff was a big influence us as well.
Okay.
So, but back in the late 80s and the early 90s, there was so much good music coming out. You had, even great hip-hop, Public Enemy, early Public Enemy records, early NWA records,
right.
that were hardcore.
Yeah.
You had so much good music coming out that we were kind of like a sponge at that time, soaking up everything that was around us. And kind of, in some ways, using everything that we heard as an influence and basically kind of created something new out of it.
Yeah.
Burton's vocal style, he's got this beautiful melodic voice to him. That came from, listening to different types of alternative music, to, some industrial music like Killing Joke, and then he's got this more aggressive side, whereas more something that I would like that came from early death metal bands like Napalm Death and Carcass and stuff like that. and bringing that into it, and then until he kind of molded his own style, and he combined the two. You know, the more aggressive singing to the more melodic singing, which pretty much became a staple today.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of does it now.
Oh, sure. Big time. You go out on a Warped Tour and you got the screaming and the melodic side.
Exactly. You go to the Warped, you see some pop melodic bands,
Yeah.
you know, doing it, and it's like it's kind of
They got the clean and the dirty vocals.
yeah, exactly. When we first came out, the clean and the dirty vocals, the record label pushed us more onto the death metal scene, and the death metal scene weren't really into it. They didn't really. We got shunned a little bit because of the melodic vocals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like the heavy parts. That melodic shit, that's fucking pussy shit. You know, that shouldn't be in fucking death metal. Blah blah blah. But we weren't really a death metal band.
Right. You were charting new territory, and they just wanted the same thing.
The label just didn't know exactly where to place us. They just placed us with all the suffocations and the deicides and the immolations and the obituaries. They kind of put us into there. Even though we love that stuff, they kind of put us in there, and just those fans really didn't get it at first.
Yeah.
It wasn't until we did Demanufacture, where the second album, where people just really started to open their minds and be like, wow, this is something new, something creative. Plus, we got better as a band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got better as a band, better songwriters. We perfected our craft.
You evolved.
Yeah, we evolved exactly into where, you know, people know us today.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think it is about the lasting quality of that album? 20 years later, people still want to hear it. You going out on tour, you know, playing it in its entirety. What do you think the lasting quality is?
Good question. I think that it's because people are still trying to do it today, that it still sounds new today. I think a few things, whereas like, you know, if you listen to the style of music, the guitars following the bass, following the kick drums. The guitars and the kick drums syncopated together is a very trendy style now. People call it the djent. You know, we were doing it way back in the day. Where bands like Meshuggah have pretty much perfected that style, and everybody's kind of copied it. But the guitars and the kick drums following together is something that's carried through the years. Bert's melodic vocals and his heavy vocals is something that's still being done today. And the production. You know, we had a guy named Colin Richardson produced the album, but we had Reese Fulber and a guy named Greg Reilly who mixed the album. And I think the combination of the two, Colin Richardson being more of the extreme metal guy, producer, and then Reese Fulber and Greg Reilly being more of the industrial side to like more of the I guess you can kind of say commercial, because he's done the mixer's done Sarah McLachlan and a bunch of big stuff like that. So I guess the two combinations really worked really well, and we were able to produce something different, and something new, and it sounded fresh, and still to this day, because of the production, still sounds fresh today.
Sure.
And I think also it was the timing of it. You know, there was a lot of tension going on in America. You know, we had just gotten past the Rodney King riots. You know, just before, right around the O.J. Simpson trials, there was a lot of tension going on, not just in L.A., but just around the world. And that record kind of represented all that. Demanufacture, what we meant by demanufacture was the breakdown of something new. Of something old. You know, breaking down something old to create for something new. So that's kind of like what we meant by it.
It's amazing. Now, I know through the history of the band, obviously you've weathered the storms up and down. You left the band for a few years. What was calling you to come back to the band, and why do you feel the band is stronger now in this new run?
Well, you know, I was, you know, obviously there from the creation of Fear Factory. I was there from the beginning. Years, you know, actually being away from the band for a few years actually was a good thing, because it helped me explore other avenues. It also gave me time to work on other projects. At the time, I was doing a band called Brujeria, which was a extreme kind of punk metal sung in Spanish. Big all through Latin America. I was able to do the Roadrunner All Stars. I was able to do Asesino, which is my other extreme metal band, sung in all in Spanish. And I was also able to do a band called Divine Heresy, which we put out a couple records. So it left me time to do other things, which I never really got time to do because Fear Factory took up all my time. So coming back, I think it was the right time. There was a couple records that were made without me, but that seemed to fall apart. That version of the band seemed to kind of fall apart. Burton had given me a call and said, "Hey, we met up at a ministry show. We hadn't talked in years. We met up at a ministry show. We kind of buried the hatchet a little bit, and he gave me a call and he said, "Hey, if you're interested, let's, I'd like to have you come back." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know." I said, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I was ready yet." So then he gave me another call and said, "Hey, look, I was, considering bringing everybody back together, everybody." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. Me and you are friends. I'm not friends with the other guys anymore. I don't know." So I thought about it for a while. Then he gave me a call and he says, "Hey, it's not going to work out with the other two guys. Do you still want to do it?" I'm like, "Well, I never really said I wanted to do it, but give me a little bit more time." So this is about 6 months of conversation between them. You know what I mean?
So you kind of ease back in.
Ease back, exactly. And then he says, "Hey, let's just try it and see what happens. I'm going to come down to LA. Let's hang out, and let's see how it goes." We hung out. We got wasted drunk. We bashed out a lot of our issues. And then the next day we woke up and said, "Okay, let's get to work." And that's how it was.
Wow. Well, I know on top of the Demanufactured tour, Genexus, the latest album, solid record. What are you most proud of achieving with that step with the band?
Well, definitely, this is my 9th studio record with the band. And I was like, okay, after 9 records, where do you go? What do you do? Music has kind of evolved into other forms, but at the same time, it kind of hasn't evolved because a lot of the new school bands are influenced by the old school bands. So they're sounding like the old school bands, maybe with just something a little bit different. So I was like, okay, what do I do? You know what I mean? So Burton was like, we're Fear Factory. Let's just do Fear Factory, and let's just try to channel what we did in the past and bring it to the future. Because he's like, if it ain't broken, why try to fix it? Let's just concentrate on writing good songs. And so that's what we did. We took our time. We wrote good songs. We didn't really, try to change our sound too extremely. We added new elements into the thing. We added more keyboards. We did a ballad on the record. You know what I mean? We did a few different things, but we kept the core Fear Factory what it is.
Yeah. And I know you everything comes full circle. Nuclear Blast back with Monty.
That was another big thing for us too.
Yeah.
Monty Connor was there from the beginning. The minute Fear Factory did their first demo, Monty was the first one to hear it. We did 3 demos, and the first demo Monty goes like, you guys need a little bit more work. So we went back to the drawing board, did a second album. You guys are getting there. You know what I mean? This is like about 10 songs later. Then we went in with a guy named Ross Robinson.
Sure.
Yeah, we went in with him. We did our 3rd demo with him. And production was obviously better. Our songwriting got better. Everything got better. And Monty heard it. Actually, I'll take it back. After we did that demo, I played it for Max from Sepultura.
Okay.
There was a thing called Concrete Foundations.
Yeah.
Remember those?
Oh yeah, I had one in Burbank in New York.
Yeah, Burbank. We
right up the street here.
Yeah, right up the street. Exactly.
Hollywood Way.
Yeah. So always went there. So one day we were just done with the demo. I played it for Max. Max is like, "Oh my God, you have to play it for Monty Connor." I'm like, "Monty Connor knows the band. He's already passed on us a couple times." No, this is amazing. You have to play it for him. And I'm like, and I take your cassette. And I'm like, no, that's my only copy. I gotta give me that cassette back. I go, I'll make you another one. I just need that one. That's my master copy. So anyways, I had to wrestle to get it back from him.
Yeah.
We were both wasted having a good time. Anyway, so I got a tape back, and he goes, you must play Monty. So he called Monty on the phone and told Monty about it, and I ended up playing for Monty. Monty's like, we got to get you signed right now. This is it. And he was extremely happy with it. He saw the band grow, and he saw where we got to on the third demo.
Now, was this the first time Ross got on Roadrunner's radar? Because he obviously did a lot of records for Roadrunner.
Yes, exactly. So then he did. So then we did a demo, and actually Ross had shopped the demo to a lot of local bands in LA.
Okay.
And he got production deals with other bands.
Right.
I don't need to name bands. You can guess what bands.
Yeah.
So yeah, he used the demo to shop around himself, which eventually landed him a deal with Roadrunner, a production deal, doing Slipknot and a bunch of other bands.
Yeah.
Amen, and that's just the name of a few that were on Roadrunner. He's done a million of them.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. So Monty knew the band from the beginning. So he left Roadrunner, went to Nuclear Blast. He called us up because he found out we were available, and we were like, yeah, let's work this out. So we worked out a deal, and here we are with Nuclear Blast.
Amazing stuff. Now, obviously, you've seen the music business almost disintegrate. It's completely unrecognizable from Tower Records in the warehouse, and all of what you came up on. And I know you tour the world. You go everywhere. We've seen the documentaries and all that. What is your hope for the future of the music business, and how can you still in this younger generation that music has a value? You need to support this. You need to pay for this. It's not free.
Yeah, it's hard to say where the music industry is going to go. I mean, obviously, people are adapting in different ways to try to survive. For us, as far as income, we were always a live band. Get out there, get on tour, and in the beginning we never sold a lot of records, so we never saw money from the records anyways. But a lot of people don't really understand the music industry, but the record label gives you an advance, and then whatever record you sell, it pays back the advance, right?
Yeah.
But you never really paid back the advance because we never sold that many records. You know what I mean? And even if we did sell 1 million albums, we'd probably still owe the record label money because by that time you've already done like 3 or 4 videos.
Yeah, tour support.
Tour support. They've already put money into radio and so on and so on. So you probably already borrowed $1.5 million.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That tour support got you on the road, and the road is what kept you alive.
Exactly. So the one thing that the label never got a hold of was your, whatever you got paid live.
Yeah.
Now, back in the day when we signed our contract, we were kids. We were like in our very, very early 20s.
Right.
Our drummer was 18 at the time. I was 21. We were like in our early 20s. So I signed a deal not really knowing what was to come. And
you trusted.
You sign away your publishing, you sign away your merchandising, and your record royalties. And it was just like, wow. And then you don't realize that till like 2 records later when you start learning the ropes and learning the music industry. You're like, oh my God, we just got pretty much fucked.
Yeah, you can't.
We're really not making any money.
Can't sell any more rights that you don't own.
We're really not making any money, and here we are, just starting out, getting paid $500 a night, and traveling in a van, traveling the world. So obviously, you build your live, guarantees, and you get more and more people coming to your shows, so your guarantees get higher. And so that's pretty much how we made money. Even when we were selling merch on the road at that time, back in the day, we weren't even making merch money because we signed away our merch.
So it was a merch company.
Yeah, we signed away our merchandising to the record label. The record label owned... Roadrunner had their own publishing company called All Blacks.
Yeah.
They had their own merchandising company called Blue Grape. So we signed all those three things away. We didn't see any money. We just saw
And they were
money.
cross-collateralized.
Yeah. Well, they call it the 360 deal nowadays.
Yeah.
Some people do it because they get sick advances. We were just getting like maybe $20,000, $30,000 advances to make records. So we weren't really making any money. You know what I mean?
Sure.
For a long time. It wasn't until our 3rd album where we actually started seeing income. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I can go get my own apartment. You know what I mean? I can get a car. Yeah. Where music is heading nowadays, for us, it hasn't changed. It's still go out there, get on the road, play shows, make some sort of income. Now, thank God, we have our own publishing, we have our own merch,
Yeah.
so we can actually make money from that. So that's pretty much where music is heading and the business is heading. It's hard to predict. Obviously,
It's a whole lot different for a band coming up today.
Yeah, it's harder. It's harder and it's easier in some ways. It's easier because I see people blowing up on the internet, YouTube. People put out a YouTube video, and some people get like fucking 2 million hits. Some people are on Facebook. They get 1 million followers, 2 million followers. There's companies now that'll pay you money for advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you see people like Lady Gaga, the Kardashians.
Yeah.
Even metal bands. I don't want to name anybody's names, but even some bigger metal bands, you go to their Facebook page. All of a sudden, you'll see they'll post some advertisement for some, I don't know, whatever, some hair gel.
Mm-hmm.
People are paying them money because once they click on that thing,
Web traffic.
it'll go right to, the advertisement of the hair gel. That's also clickbaiting as well, and next thing you know, they're making money off their Facebook page.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
so what advice do you give to those?
There's business. There's money to be made in different ways.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You don't even have to leave your house, and you can make money like that.
Right. But for a band that's in the garage that really wants to follow in your footsteps, I know you can't give them business advice, but as far as the work ethic, the perseverance, what do you instill in them?
That's what I try to talk to people now. I mean, talk to young up and coming bands.
Yeah.
I'm working with a band right now called Dark Sun. They're out of LA. They've been around for a few years. I see them, trying to hustle every show, play every show. I'm like, okay, this guy's got something. They might just need a little guidance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're working on a demo right now, and hopefully to try to get them signed, or at least have a better quality something to sell at shows.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they put it on a USB stick, or whether they put it on a CD or whatever.
Yeah.
Something that they could sell at shows at least, and go to different clubs saying check out my music. At least something they could put it on Facebook or YouTube, saying here, check out my music. Take us seriously. Blah 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 blah. And it's not just some band that did a recording on their computer. It wasn't that great. So I'm giving a little bit of guidance on how to do it, and better quality demo. People helped me back in the day. Ross Robinson helped me. My friend, this guy named John Fenton, who works for him, he has his own management company now, manages a bunch of bands. He helped me out in the beginning. Billy Gould, the bass player of Faith No More, actually produced our first demo. Those people helped us out in the beginning, so I'm kind of returning the favor.
Yeah.
Trying to help out some, up and coming bands.
It's important to build bridges and not burn them.
Exactly, and just giving them advice on what to do. First thing, you don't need a manager right away. Get a lawyer. Lawyer is one of the first things. They're going to look over your contracts.
Yeah.
Once you get contracts sent to you,
make sure you're protected.
Exactly. To make sure you're protected. Exactly. Because there are people out there who are willing to take it and willing to rip you off.
Yeah. If you don't handle your business, somebody else will for you.
Correct.
Well, in Fine Lane, this is an election year. We're hearing about this wall that's intended to be built between the U.S. and Mexico, is where your heritage comes from, even though you're born in America.
Somebody said, hey man, you're Mexican. Why would you move to Australia?
Right.
Why not Mexico? I'm like, I live in L.A. What's the difference? We have a lot of Hispanics here. We're close to the Mexican border.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mean it literal when I said I was going to move to Australia.
Right.
It was a sarcastic joke that actually, obviously, a lot of people got offended by it.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, you're leaving your country! Ah! I'm like, no, I'm not. It was just a figure of speech. It's just me saying how much I don't want Trump to get elected.
Yeah, how things could turn in this country from bad to worse.
Correct. I generally don't normally talk about politics.
Yeah.
Generally, I normally don't. But for some reason, this election is really affecting a lot of people. Trump has a lot of people stirred up. So everybody's talking about it. You know what I mean? You know, normally it's been a long time, like way back in the late 80s, early 90s. You know, Dave
Bush.
Mustaine was talking about it a lot, and he was actually known for that.
Right.
Very intelligent when it came to that kind of stuff. But now, you know, this, you know, like I said, Donald Trump's got everybody stirred up. You know, he's got everybody talking about it. That it's crossed over into metal music. So a lot of the journalists are asking me about it. You know what I mean? So this is just for the people out there who are always posting on the internet. Why are you always talking about it? Well, because they ask. Journalists ask us.
Right.
Why are you talking about it?
Well, musicians have a voice, and they affect a lot of their followers.
Correct. We have a voice. We're just like everybody else. And, you know, I encourage everybody to go out there and vote. There's a lot of people who don't vote, who want to talk shit, but they don't vote.
You have no excuse if you didn't vote.
Yeah. You can't have... Everybody has the right to their opinion, but you can't, like, you know, go out...
You gotta voice your opinion.
Yeah, you can't go out there and talk shit and not make a change or not do anything about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I encourage everybody to go out there and vote.
But for the first time, I mean, I can't even remember it. We've always had protests, but I haven't seen protesters get beat down inside. Outside, they might get pepper sprayed or something, you know, by the cops.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's
been a while
really
since that
crazy that people can't have their voice heard in this political, you know, process at these events.
Yeah, you know, and the funny thing is, like, if Trump actually gets to do everything he says he's going to do, which most presidents don't, you know what I mean? To build a wall. I mean, how many presidents have said they were going to build a wall? There's nothing. All there is a fence. Sure, you can build a wall for whatever country you want to do. Mexico, we already got tunnels. The cartels already got fucking elaborate tunnels where they bring drugs in, they bring people in. They have tunnels, you know, new tunnels every week. The border patrols have a hard time finding all those tunnels and stopping it. You can't stop it. It doesn't matter if you put a wall, you're not going to stop it. He is just saying that to get a certain kind of people to vote for him.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right. Super pro-American.
Oh, I'm going to start jobs. I'm going to bring jobs. I'm going to make Apple bring their company back to America. I'm going to bring Nissan and Ford and Toyota, who have companies out in Mexico, who they all left America and went to Mexico, or their countries and went to Mexico. Why? Because it's cheap labor. It's cheap labor, and they don't have to. There's a lot of codes that they don't have to. They can dump. They can dump, you know, chemicals into the water stream.
Yeah, less restrictions.
Less restrictions. So they move all their companies out to Mexico or China. Donald Trump has companies out in China and Mexico. You know what I mean? So he's kind of, you know, it's kind of like...
yeah, he's giving them a softball. I mean,
he says all this stuff, but can he really change it? You're talking about multinational corporations that you're saying, hey, move back to America. What incentive do they have to come back to America, these corporations? They don't have any incentive. Yeah. None. And I don't know how he's going to change that. It's impossible.
Yeah. Well, Dino, it's a pleasure as always. We're going to be out there on the Demanufacture tour.
Thank you.
Can't wait for the next record. And, man, just keep on giving us great music.
There you go. Thank you for having me.